Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Brockopp side. So, I'm sure by now most of you have heard about the original concept for Star Wars Episode 9 that was leaked to the internets a few days ago. And for those of you that don't know, this is the original script and story that director Colin Trevorrow originally was going to do, or at least, a draft of it before he was booted off the project and J.J. Abrams came back in to finish Episode 9. And well, after a couple of days of online research and leaked concept art, I could definitely say it's quite a bit different from the Episode 9 we got, The Rise of Skywalker. But if you guys are new here and you enjoy this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you live talking by movies. But anyways, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go through all what I believe are the major details of the leaked Star Wars script, not every last little thing. If you want to see a more in-depth description of it, I'll leave a link to the Reddit post down below. But anyways, so first off, the original title was supposed to be The Duel of the Fates, which of course is named after the famous John Williams track from Episode 1, with the Darth Maul, Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon Jinn fight, so who knows if that title will have actually stuck or just a working title, but it still sounds kind of cool. So from there we'll go into the opening crawl for the movie, which is the iron grip of the First Order has spread to the farthest reaches of the galaxy. Only a few scattered planets remain unoccupied. Traitorous acts are punishable by death. Determined to suffocate a growing unrest, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren has silenced all communication between neighboring systems. Led by General Leia Organa, the Resistance has planned a secret mission to prevent their annihilation and forge a path to freedom. So right off the bat, you can tell it's a bit of a departure from Rise of Skywalker, basically saying, yo, Palpatine's still alive. So it was going to open up with Finn and Rose infiltrating a moon where the First Order builds their ships to attempt to blow it up. Then we get to see some oppressed workers, which would kind of tie back into some of the themes of The Last Jedi, with the worker children dealing with the animals and the casino plan and things like that. The plan, of course, doesn't work. And then we see that Rey has her own dual-bladed lightsaber made from her staff and Anakin's saber, so kind of a hybrid of the two. Poe, Finn, Rose, Rey, and BB-8 still a Star Destroyer. This would have been the first movie since Episode 3. We would return to Coruscant, which is now a disheveled city under occupation by the First Order, and we would also return to Mustafar, where Kylo Ren is searching for something while being haunted by Luke Skywalker's Force Ghost, who is trying to bring Ben Solo back, but of course Kylo Ren resists it, and then Kylo finds a Sith holocron which plays a recording of Palpatine telling Vader if Luke kills him to take Luke to Tor Valum, a Sith teacher to Palpatine. Right before the whole thing explodes in Kylo's face, Rey tells Finn she doesn't feel like she could be a Jedi and confesses she's been having Kylo Ren related nightmares, kind of going back to that Force connection we saw in The Last Jedi. Finn says he can't change, but Rey says she can, and Finn taught her that people can change, with him defecting from the First Order and all that. Rey discovers a Force beacon on Coruscant that could send a signal to 50 planets and hopefully find plenty of allies, which kind of becomes the Resistance's main plan for the entire movie. So then Force Ghost Luke continues to train Rey whilst also trying to get Kylo to push Ben out. Rey begins questioning the balance of the Force, dark suffocating light, light extinguishing dark, saying, 1,000 masters so eager to tell us how to live. The Resistance splits up into two teams. Rose, Finn, R2, and C-3PO go to light the Force beacon on Coruscant. Rey, Poe, and Chewbacca go to a planet to find someone who can help Rey. That's kind of just as vague as it gets. Team A manages to activate the beacon. Several planets receive it. So then Kylo Ren meets Tor Valum, who is said to be 7,000 years old and very Lovecraftian in appearance. He begins to train with Tor and has a moment similar to that cave scene from Empire Strikes Back, but this time it's Kylo versus Vader, but Kylo ends up losing. Team A starts an uprising at Coruscant. Big old space battle ensues. Rey and Kylo Ren battle, pulling Force energy from each other. It's then revealed that Kylo Ren killed Rey's parents under the orders of Snoke, so no Palpatine connections whatsoever in this version. And then we get to see Force ghosts of Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Luke appear to try and save Ben, but they fail and Kylo Ren is quote-unquote extinguished. Resistance wins, First Order loses. So, yeah, those are the major details about Colin Trevorrow's Duel of the Fates. And as you can tell, it's quite a bit different from the J.J. Abrams' Rise of Skywalker. So, yes, let me just give you my thoughts on a few of these little details here. So first off, I think Rey getting her own lightsaber early on in the movie makes a lot more sense at the very end of the last movie of the trilogy, where we're probably never gonna see this character again. And actually, thinking about it more, Rey having a dual-bladed lightsaber actually makes quite a bit of sense, considering, she is very skilled with her bow staff, combat and fighting with it, so having a dual-bladed lightsaber is actually a pretty good fit. And I love the idea of this movie revisiting Coruscant, and it's actually a place I was really hoping this new trilogy would explore at some point, because I was really curious what this, Jedi-centric city from the prequels became after, the Empire rose up, then fell, and the First Order took over. So the idea of getting to see this, disheveled, military-occupied place, I think that could have been really, really interesting. And I think Luke has a much better role in this version than does in Rise of Skywalker, because in that movie, he kind of just showed up as a Force ghost on Act 2 when Rey needed him, basically, and here he's trying to save Ben from Kylo Ren, and some of the descriptions here sound like they could have been really powerful and dramatic scenes, which I think would have been really cool to see unfold on film. He also continues to train Rey more, which makes sense, considering he only gave her, 3 lessons on the island, I think, so it does make sense for him to be, training him even after he's a Force ghost, because, Obi-Wan kind of did something kind of similar to Luke 30 plus years ago. And I think Finn showing Rey that people can truly change would have been a really cool moment, and would have given his, defection from the First Order a little bit more meaning than simply, he was a bad guy, now he's a good guy. And in this version, Rey is still 100% a nobody, which I would have definitely preferred. I wasn't totally against her being a Palpatine in Rise of Skywalker, but I also feel like it just makes her character more interesting that she's not, related genetically to any of the major Star Wars characters in the past. She's just kind of this, anomaly in the Force that was created to bring balance, that she kind of just gets sucked into the world of all these familiar characters that we all know and love. So I think that just could have been cooler than simply being, "You're a Palpatine." And I think the further questioning of the structure of Jedi, Sith, dark side, light side, I think seeing more of that, but from Rey's perspective, would have been really nice, because, even Luke himself was questioning that whole structure of, the Jedi and, what they stand for in The Last Jedi, considering the Jedi did let Darth Sidious rise up, Darth Vader rise up, the whole galaxy being taken over, so, and also Rey questioning these old teachings, thousands of masters telling us how to live our lives. That does kind of seem like something someone from a newer, younger generation would do, and maybe she's right. Maybe it is time for a change. Maybe it's time to abandon the structure of, dark side, light side, Sith, Jedi. So I think that could have been really cool, and I think it would have also opened a lot of discussion amongst fans. But, probably mostly a lot of bitching and moaning and arguing and all that fun stuff. And the moment towards the end where the Force ghosts are trying to save Ben but failing sounds like it could have been cool. Also kind of seems like Yoda and Obi-Wan were just kind of in there for fan service, because, they don't really have a connection to Kylo Ren in any way. And the idea of Kylo Ren not redeeming himself and what sounds like he dies is something I have rather mixed feelings about, because, well, I think everybody was hoping that he would redeem himself by the end of the trilogy, myself included. At the same time, I hate that he died at the end of Rise of Skywalker, because I feel like that just kind of makes his redemption arc a little too similar to Darth Vader's in Return of the Jedi. I would have preferred that he survived and maybe tried to find some way to, right some wrongs, atone for his crimes and things like that. So that being said, that's why I, for the most part, prefer his redemption arc in Rise of Skywalker. Except for the fact that he dies. I really wish he would have stayed alive by the end of that. But, it happened. So, just to kind of wrap things up here, give my final thoughts and everything here. So, would this movie, Duel of Fates, been better than The Rise of Skywalker? Would have been better received? Would have been a more satisfying conclusion to the sequel trilogy, or in just the Skywalker saga as a whole? Well, I mean, I feel like, honestly, whichever way they decide to go, whether this one or Rise of Skywalker, I feel like either way the movie would have been divisive. It would have, had a lot of heated debates, some mixed feelings about it. Some people would have absolutely loved it, some absolutely hated it, so I don't think this movie would have been any less polarizing, to be honest, but I do think there are some things in this version that I think would have been really cool to see unfold. The execution could have been not as good as they sound on paper, so really it's kind of hard to say, but I think at the end of the day, the trilogy is over with. The Skywalker saga has come to a close. We're coming into a new era of Star Wars with, Disney Plus shows and, whatever they decide to do with new movies. So, honestly, this Star Wars thing is in the past. It was very interesting, though, to see what could have possibly been. And just, kind of seeing this kind of thing here is just kind of cool to see what they might have decided to do instead. Who knows how old this draft was before Colin Trevorrow got kicked off and then J.J. Abrams came back in. So this could have been like a very early on draft and they weren't going to go through most of this anyway. So, but once again, like I've mentioned like 85 times now, just kind of cool to see this, just see what could have been. And yeah, well, now all we gotta do is wait for The Mandalorian Season 2. So, those are my thoughts on the original Star Wars Episode 9. And again, if you haven't, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you live, talk, and buy movies. But anyways, so, tell me what you guys think about this original Star Wars down below, and we'll see you on the Brockopp side.